Afternoon, everyone. Hang on, I have too many windows open. I have a window somewhere where I can hear myself. Oh, there we go. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to our next regular scheduled developer AMA, or just AMA in general, I guess. My name is Marty, also known as Alcatraz. I'm the studio lead at Raini Studios, primarily focused on our flagship title, The Lords of Light. How are we doing today, gentlemen?
Very good, man. How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. A lot of meetings today. We've sort of been, you and I have been like back to back to back to back meetings. So yeah, one of those sort of days, I think.
Yeah, that's a lot of times that's what my life actually is, just like a string of meetings with a variety of different people on a variety of different topics. But yeah, it's good to be here. By the way, I'm Alex Moody. I'm the new managing director of Rainy Studios, CEO or the Beaver King at Seedon Network. We acquired Rainy Studios back in December, and I'm like really excited to be here. So and Ray with us
Hey
too.
guys, hello. How are you all? I'm Ray or Drazniba, just a mod in some of the chats and things, and here just to ask the questions for the community, so the guys can focus on giving you the answers.
Awesome. Cool. Well, let's get into it.
Yeah.
I know there's there's a lot of questions, I'm sure. This week, so this was a big week, I think, for Rainy. I'll just talk. Let me give me a few minutes to talk generally about the high level stuff. So this week we released all new tokenomics, and before we get into the specifics of it, I think Marty did an amazing job summarizing our objectives in the new tokenomics and in the Medium, which is back, by the way. I saw the text just a few minutes ago. Medium has come back, but I will say we're gonna work on getting some sort of aggregated news internally to the project, so that we're not subject to third parties anymore. But needless to say, we released new tokenomics. This was a huge important step for one main reason, and that is that we had to get a unified vision for the studio on where we were and where we're headed, and who we, what identity we wanted to be and what we wanted to do. And from the core of our focus is the core of our focus is to reward players. It is to make sure that is always at the center of what we're doing. Are we attracting new players and rewarding the players that we have? And so that was the core focus. And then there was a series of other sort of bullet point based focuses. And the biggest one of them is simplicity. One of the biggest things that jumped out at me when I was learning about Rainy initially, doing due diligence, and then even as the managing director or owner of Rainy, trying to figure out all the moving parts and like talking to the community and talking to the moderators and finding about all these programs and things that are kind of like bells and whistles that sort of sit on the periphery of the game or the studio. And just like the complexity was what stunned me. And oftentimes, almost never, is complexity a good design choice. And not always. It's not always true. It is sometimes true, but it rarely is true that complexity is a good design choice. Oftentimes, the simplest and most elegant design is the best design. And that's especially true for something that is designed to be fun. Complexity tends to get in the way of fun. And so, especially when we're out and about and you guys love the game, if you're watching this at any point in the next month, you love Rainy, you're a Web3 native, most likely. You're probably a die-hard NFT collector, fan of trading card games, or this one in particular. So you are willing to like scrub the mediums and like figure out the tokenomics and figure out all the ins and outs. But then you talk to your girlfriend or your spouse or your husband or your significant other or your aunt or your cousin or your brother or your best friend, and then you start trying to explain Rainy to them. And how long does it take you to explain the whole thing? And if the answer to that is more than like 2 minutes, we're probably doing it wrong. And so that was the thought process behind like the evolution of the tokenomics of Rainy. Was we need to be able to communicate to our audience in a very short amount of time what is Rainy and what is it about. And the answer is like what we can now do that with the new tokenomics. We can now do that. And someone says, explain to me how this works. Well, it's a trading card game. If you play the game, you earn some tokens. If you collect the cards, you earn tokens. And if you're really, really good at it and you're at the top of the leaderboard, you collect some tokens. And then the second component is attracting new users. And so we looked at some of those programs that we felt like didn't necessarily serve those core principles. And when we were eliminate them, the things that didn't reward gamers, and we reallocate those tokens to user acquisition as a priority, then we can satisfy all of our existing users get to play through those new user quests and get to earn more free tokens. But also new users, we have incentives to drive new user adoption. And we had a meeting today with the full team. It was like literally like 5 minutes ago, it ended. And we went and literally I laid out this vision of the RST questing system, the integrated RST questing system, the thought process behind the user experience, that you take a new user from the first messaging that they hear all the way through the experience of learning about the game while getting instant gratification rewards until they've had enough exposure to the entire process through the RST quest, new user quest system, all the way through that process. Then by then they've experienced all the facets of the game, and we've been able to explain to them during that 2 to 3 week period of this new user questing system what the entire play to earn system is, so that by the time the quests run out, they're already a week away from earning their first play and earn reward. And by then we've already encouraged them through those new user quest rewards to acquire some digital collectible cards, integrate them into their decks, so that they can earn specific rewards on that. And then they're earning on the collect and earn program too. So they might not be quite good enough to get on the leaderboard, but they probably will be, because we're expanding the leaderboard to a much larger category. So by the end of those sort of bouncing ball, follow the yellow brick road process of that new user experience through the RST questing system, by the time the user makes their way through it, they're already integrated into every facet of our play and earn economics. And then we retain them as players, because we know the game's good, and we know the game's fun, and we know the rewards are good. So all we have to do is get that initial process. So that's kind of the high level. And then I'll let Draz take us through the specifics of what people, are thinking about, or what's on their minds.
Sure. I think the new tokenomics were fantastic. Like you say, they've really captured the play, like encouraging people to play the game, through the creation of them, I suppose you've also extended, time frames from 5 years to 10 years on some, and a lot of the rewards through the shop coming back to the players as well, or the collectors, all that sort of thing. So it's really just feeding back into a great system for everybody who wants to play.
Yeah, and I think one piece to that I'm not sure everyone caught is that the store, the one of the first things that came up when I started, I use the moderators as kind of my my focus group. Like they have a really good, I think they're the closest to, rather than the team or anybody else, they're the closest to actual players, actual collectors, like engaged in every facet. So you guys are an amazing resource for us. And so like the very first comment back when I kind of shared the direction I was headed with you guys is, well, there's not many sales on the RST storefront. It's like, well, first we got to fix that, because RST is the lifeblood of our ecosystem. It is the core of our ecosystem, and moving forward, it will be all of the purchasing. So from moving forward, when you buy a pack, an NFT from Raini, you're going to buy it in RST. You're going to buy it from the RST store. When you purchase Lux, you're buying it with RST, except Epic. Through Epic, it's fiat. You can use your credit card or do whatever. But the exception of that channel to buy that thing, everything else is going to happen in RST through the RST store. And so that means every new drop, when Evolutions comes out in redacted amount of time, then that entire expansion drop, 40% of that, the sales of that expansion drop are taken off the table. They don't come to me. They don't come to Seedon or Rainy or anywhere. They taken off the top and they go to the players. 30% comes out of circulating supply and feeds the tokenomics so that it's not just 10 years worth, it's 10 years plus whatever comes out of the circulation and gets fed. So in theory, now it's not a guarantee, but in theory, it becomes perpetual or infinite in time. And it's also a growth metric so that we can expand beyond one game. But so 30% comes out and goes out of circulation completely, and 10% goes immediately to the players through the 4%, 2% split on the existing mechanics on the monthly process. So when you get your C&E rewards, you'd also get the 4%, your share of that 4% of the C&E percentage on the RST storefront. So it's tying your activity directly into the success of Raini. You're part of you guys are part of the community, is part of the game, the success of the game, and the players are incentivized to play, earn RST, spend RST, get it back. It's a whole feedback loop.
Let's go. Basically, someone, ViperX 1007, asked, he'd love to hear more about the deep discussion on this AMA about the plan for the user acquisition. I know you've been over it before, but you said you sort of would go over it a little bit again.
Yeah.
He said he knows there's a lot of talk about as soon as mobile, et cetera, and he's just curious about those plans and how they're going to come to fruition.
Sure. So, happy to talk about it. It's a great question. So it does rely on mobile, and I'll tell you why. This is a very our focus, while we encourage and are going to seek every market. The lowest hanging fruit is third world country markets, particularly in Southeast Asia. We have a lot of reach. My business partner, co-founder at Seedon, Julian Jordan, lives in Bali, Indonesia. We have great connections for marketing in Indonesia. We have great capabilities to expand there as a low hanging fruit for our company, any of our companies. And if you look at the Axie Infinity model, I personally am biased. I own Raini, but I'm biased, and I think everybody here would agree. Raini's a more fun game than Axie. Sure. It's more enjoyable to continue to play. It has more playability. There's more variety and depth to the game. But look at what so what in the same context, or the same, if apples and oranges, right? If we had an Axie moment like they did in 2021. What would happen to our player base? So when you look at that, so how do you bridge the gap between where we are and where we want to be? And it's really, really simple, right? There's this great game. There's these great system for rewarding players. There's the design of P&E, C&E, and leaderboard is very good. It hits all the bases. We made some minor tweaks and changes to it, but overall it's pretty much the same. So how do you get the top of the funnel, right? We have the retention. We can retain players. How do we get them? And so the biggest problem is complexity, is explaining what's the message that you give to somebody. This is the message right now, today. Come play Raini. Grind it out for a month, and in 6 weeks you'll get a payout. But we're unclear what it is. You don't really know how much. That's kind of been the message so far. People are going to get paid rewards literally this week, probably tomorrow or the next day for December, and they still don't know what they earned. They don't have a context of it. Some of them have a little bit of a context, but the messaging is not there. We don't have a way of coherently explaining to a new user how much they could earn and when they could earn it. So you have to change that messaging. So what we did was we took the 100 million tokens that were, or whatever's left of the 100 million, just like 96 million or something, and that were into LP rewards. Providing LP is very complex financial instrument and process. And in most cases, it's not a good decision for most crypto investors or participants. And we don't want to be part of encouraging people to do something that they may lose money doing just to participate in our ecosystem. It's not something I believe in, and we want to move away from that. So we stop doing LP. If you want to keep doing it, do it. By all means. If you feel like it's a good strategy for you, do it. But we're not going to encourage it as an ecosystem centric mechanism. So we take those rewards, we allocate them to new users, and then we create the RST questing system. And this is simple, right? This is the message. The new message that goes out from Raini to a new user is download our game, play the tutorial, which takes 20 minutes, and earn $10 worth of RST. That's it. There's no other message.
It's pretty good.
During the process of earning that 20-minute tutorial completion, we're going to tell you the next message, which is, win 10 matches in ranked play, earn $10 worth of RST. That's something like that. I'm not saying this is exactly what the user experience quest chain is like, but then, so say 3, 4, 5 quests, we've given you a little bit of a breadcrumb. We've fed you in. The tooltips are slightly explaining more and more about the play and earn mechanics while you're going through the process. And then we say, play one game with a digital collectible in your deck. Earn $10 worth of RST. Just bit by bit. And you do that, and you make sure that user experience lasts about 3 weeks for the average. Now, George and Raverse and the other guy, Cryptic Witcher, they're going to go in and they're going to grind out all those quests in the first 2 hours, and that's fine. Like, you're going to win 100 games in the first day, and you're going to get the big prize. Like, you're not our target demographic for this. You will get the rewards, but you're not the person we're looking. You're not the target demographic. The target demographic is someone who's going to come in and grind these things out over a period of weeks, playing the bouncing ball over like a set amount of time. So you give them about 3 weeks worth of material, but by the end of the 3 weeks, they understand that the cards that they own are earning them passively, and the first reward payout will be in about a week. And then that the play and earn, every game they played, is adding up, and they can see where they stand on the leaderboard on the RT-LOL page, and they see that the reward is adding up. And then they're on the leaderboard. They can see where they are immediately on the leaderboard, and they can do a rough calculation in their head about what that translates to. And the payout is about a week away. By then, they're now in the month. They're fine with the month at a time, because they understand how they get paid, and they understand what they need to do to get it. So that's the system. And then here's the bit. So that's how the user experience works. How do you get the user? Well, it's simple. We have connections in Indonesia and other Southeast Asian countries, and we pay influencers to tell that message. Download this game. Hey, audience, while you're watching me put my makeup on or sing this song or play this video game or stream this thing, let me tell you a quick thing from one of our partners. Download this link right now, play for 20 minutes, and they'll give you $10. Well, $10 is the weekly pay for some people, or it's 2 days worth of salary. My business partner, Julian, made a comment. We have an internal document, and it had something like $100 of value that in this initial quest chain, like $150 maybe. And he goes, that's what my housekeeper makes a month. We've had so much we pay her a month. So she could play this game in her free time and make more money on the new quest chain than she does working for him for an entire month. So that's the messaging. So if we do this right, and we target the right audience at the right time with the right message, we'll have 100,000 users in a matter of weeks.
Wow. It's pretty impressive, isn't it? And even, not that you can talk about it, I suppose, but I think you have mentioned in the past that the second game that's coming, it has a very large fans base on social media. You'll be sort of designing incentives once you have those people in place, I suppose, to come across and try out Lords of Light as well as part of that, won't you? So there's another access to millions of potential people there.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, when the second game, and I'd say we're weeks away from revealing the IP,
Yes.
not months. So we're weeks away. We want to have something cool to show you. We're waiting on some really cool artwork right now that I think will be like good for a reveal moment. So probably like beginning of early Feb, we'll like maybe that'll be like a nice announcement for everybody, but just give some like rough time frame, not like commitment there. But
Sure.
So when that game launches, and that'll be like, let's call it mid 2024 for like a early launch or like a soft launch or something, second half of 2024. When that game launches, we expect that we'll get 7 to 8 figure, download install base on that game. And we will not be able to necessarily convert those people in large numbers over. I'm not suggesting that we'll be able to get like 1 million people to also try the Lords of Light, but it is the same message. It's the same market. It actually is the same market type and the same messaging will work very well, which is come try this game that's also by the studio that you like. Play the 20-minute tutorial and earn yourself $10. That will play well in the market where this IP is very popular. And so it's very reasonable to assume that we can expand. And this is a totally different market than Indonesia. So this is another geographic demographic that is very ripe for our exact type of go to market strategy. So it allows us to crack an entirely another market with built-in user base. So they're already consuming content we create, and how hard is it to just then cross-sell them the exact same style of content from the same publisher?
Fantastic. The potential is fantastic for that.
It's worth keeping in mind as well that a lot of people, when they are fans of a certain game, they will naturally go, okay, cool, I like this game. Who made it? There's a reason why the Raini Studios branding is so strong within RTLOL and will be so strong within game number 2 as well. And why Alex, we literally talked this like half an hour ago with Mike, how like a lot of the design decisions being made for the new game will feel very familiar to someone for RTLOL, but that also means that someone who does get introduced to our ecosystem from the new game can then come across, look at RTLOL, already understand, maybe how to pick it up and how to get into it, and become a fan of the studio as a whole, which would be the long-term sort of goal. And then obviously that works really well with the plan of, producing other games as we move forward as well.
Are there programs available for to get influencers on board and sort of measure, reward them and measure based on how many they bring in? Is that sort of data available at the back end?
It is. Yeah. Referral link type stuff it all works. Yeah. I mean, it depends on what kind of programs you're doing for that type of marketing. In the markets that we're working in, the numbers are so large and the marketing is so cheap that it's not as critical when you're, if you're trying to attract game users in North America, and you're like marketing and buying on like IGN and like doing like high profile stream influencers, are trying to get like Mr. Beast or something like, Dan DTM to like stream your shit. The cost is so high that you want to like metric the KPI to make sure that your like user acquisition costs make sense. Like we know the user's worth this much money. We had to spend this much to get that user. Did it work out? Did we get a good value for it? When you're doing influencer marketing in like third world countries, the cost structures are so different that it's like doesn't really matter. You can just spend a fair budget, and you're going to get the pull through that's going to more than be worth it.
Yeah, sure.
It's not as critical in the type of marketing strategy that we're operating on right now. Whereas if we were marketing like a PlayStation game in North America, the thought processes would be totally different. The budgets would be have 5 more zeros involved.
Yeah. So basically, you can pay some of the high influencers reasonable money, and it's not really a concern, but they will push the product and they'll do it quite well for the money.
Yeah, well, you just have to make sure that your message is the right message. If we have them, like I said to these guys, I said it's got to be like, I was joking, right? I was like, when we come up with our like pitch, it's got to be 8 words long. If it's like 10 words, it's too much. We live in a TikTok society that like people aren't even watching the 30-second TikTok of their favorite influencer. They're swiping every like 10 seconds. So they're like, watch the first 15 seconds of the 30-second video, if that. So then when you're marketing in that context of that type of style of influencer, you have to be an even shorter message inside of the even shorter message. So so it's people have this like they can like hear one thing. People can't hear 2 things anymore. One thing is all they can hear. So if you say one thing and it has to be super compact and impactful for the audience that you're saying it to, That's how you win in this type of marketing.
Sure. And imagine, like I said, $10 for doing the tutorial is pretty big for a lot of those countries.
It's big. And I guys, I don't know if that's the number. I'm not just I'm just throwing out like an argument, but
sure.
Yeah. There you go. We've got Keyshawn there. After mobile launch, come to India. You will get as many players as you want. See, it's the same. India is the same type of market, and Keyshawn, we would do India if it was low hanging fruit, and we will. But it's actually a little bit more complicated to market into India than it is to market into Indonesia, just simply because of our own connection set, skill sets, and so forth. But doesn't mean we won't do it. We will 100% do it. But it's very, very target user acquisition marketing is really critical that you have a really concise strategy, and like exactly who you're going after and why, and then you target it, and then when it's successful, you replicate that in other geographies or to other demographics, because each demographic has to have a messaging crafted for it. But the overall system should apply to everyone effectively.
Cool. That sounds excellent. Really good. And speaking about that, how's mobile going? Is mobile sort of on track? Any time frames, or just how the testing is going on the various devices?
Yeah, so I literally bought a new Android phone last night, basically because we wanted to actually make sure we're testing everything. We do a lot of testing, especially for Android, with emulators on PC. We use BlueStacks in particular if anyone wants to try it out. But yeah, we were noticing in some of the testing, we're running into issues on some more low-end devices. So that's like one of the cheapest Android phones I could literally find around here. Specifically, it only has 2 gigabytes of memory. So we want to make sure the game runs nicely on that, because we obviously understand if we are targeting countries such as Indonesia, India, maybe Philippines, Brazil, places like that, 2 gig Android devices are very, very common in those regions. So we need to make sure we're giving a great experience on those. But yeah, everything's traveling on nicely. The team's been doing a lot of work around the UI. So I've posted a few screenshots just randomly in Telegram when I have the chance. So we've updated, for example, how the deck editor works. So it's more of a pagination system now than it is just like vertical scrolling. Again, that was just purely a memory issue. We're playing a game where, I say playing a game, like not the game itself, like the game that we play as developers is where every kilobyte of memory usage matters. So we need to really make sure that, for what these devices give us access to, we're trying to make the most of it. And if the choice is between, all right, maybe we scroll the deck view, or we can have, better on-play animations, obviously we're going to lean to the more gameplay-oriented stuff that players will see and sort of experience much more often. But yeah, outside of that, we're still roughly on track for end of this month for some sort of early access. So yeah, best bet is just make sure you're following us on our socials, Telegram, Discord, Twitter, and as we get closer to the point where the community can get involved with that, you guys will be the first to know.
Yeah, I made a joke in the chat. Somebody asked this question. I made a joke in the chat, and I said it's not going to be very long before it's that we're waiting on the team before we're waiting on Apple. And actually, we made a decision tonight as a team that we wouldn't wait on Apple. So if Apple becomes a challenge, I'm not saying they will, but the Apple Store can be finicky about new publishers and even existing publishers launching new applications. We won't delay the launch. We'll make it an Android only soft launch and make that access that additional access point to the game or to the ecosystem, and then we'll roll out the iPhone or iOS as soon as they're willing to let us do so. So that's two-pronged. One is because we can, and it's just good. More players and more options is better than less players and less options. And two, because largely the markets that we're looking to roll out this user acquisition strategy in are Android's heavy markets. So it's primarily our target demographic anyway for the short term. I mean, I'm an iPhone user, so this doesn't I'm literally making it harder on myself, but making it easier on the community. And as Kieran said, I just looked at that. It says like as key is being able to play a game anytime and always having someone ready or willing to play the game on the other end. And that's critical. So everybody knows this, that is part of the community is we need more players. And that's true because as a business, we need more people consuming our product to be successful. But also, as delivering a quality product requires that the matchmaking is faster and it's cleaner, that the matches themselves pair users more accurately based on their win the win mechanics and the algorithms. Because if there's two players and one's the best player and one's the worst player, and they're the only two players in queue, eventually they will get paired together, even though they should never get paired together. So so more players is critical for RTLOL to reach the quality of game that we know it is. And so yes, that is exactly that's the primary reason, is to make the user experience better, to make the player base larger. That will drive up value or consumption or user interest in the digital collectibles, the NFTs. More people will want them. There is only so many of them. We are going to be instructing people to get them in order to complete quests. So like just all of it it's a big feedback loop that will all drive the value of the game for everyone.
Nice. And early player access, Marty, what's that sort of involved? Just a number of people initially, or it's the same game, so you'd be playing against people on desktop, but it just might be a little bit flaky, or possible bug, maybe.
Yeah, so we're still tossing up the best way to do it. In an ideal world, obviously when we start rolling out the mobile build, we don't want to just send it out there, have thousands of people download if there's a potential issue. So it'll be starting with, most likely the mods will start with it, then we'll extend that to, like we did when we were getting like RTLOL on Epic back in the day,
right?
Like last year, not that long ago. We'll extend that to. It's back in the day, yeah. That was like a 2023 thing. We'll extend that to community members who have already played the game, a fair bit on on desktop, primarily because they know the game, they know how to play it. They're not going to be they're going to be looking for issues where things are broken or not working compared to what they used to on the desktop version, as opposed to if we had completely brand new players coming in and maybe they think it's a bug because they can't figure out how to stake a card, as just a high level example. But yeah, the plan is that from day one, the players on mobile for both iOS and Android, and the players on desktop, and potentially console, if that was something we looked at down the road, would all be in one matchmaking pool. You'd all be playing on the same servers. So there's the example I've always given is I can sit on my desktop here in Australia and I can play against someone in India or Europe or wherever. When I was flying to GDC last year, when I was 30,000 feet in the air just off the coast of Fiji, I was playing a game on an American server against, I want to say it was Kishan, actually. I think it was that I was playing against in India. So just to basically prove that our matchmaking worked and our networking code worked. Yeah. But yeah, there's no reason why the next time I fly to GDC, I can't, instead of having to grab out my MacBook, I can just grab out my phone and have the exact same experience.
Nice. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of questions here, I suppose. Are you planning in the RST storefront? Are you guys planning to adjust the pack prices to reflect any token price increases?
Okay. Is it static right now? I actually don't know how that's set up right now. Is it like a set RST price?
It's basically fixed pricing that we can adjust when we need to.
Okay.
But obviously with token prices changing, that's why there's a bit of
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'll tell you how I didn't actually know that, and it's not a high priority, but yes, I mean that the way that should be done, and what our objective to move towards will be, especially when we'll be dynamically pricing everything in RST moving forward, is that we'll need to implement Chainlink like VRF and grab pricing. So that it's like a dynamic daily adjustment. So we'll think of things in the context of a certain fixed price that we have, and it's a good moment to talk about our thought process around price as well. My my general feeling is I believe in a system where, particularly with trading card games, my kids are huge collectors of Pokemon. Neither one of my children have ever played a single Pokemon game. I don't even know that we know the rules or how, like, they don't know what the damage, how it works, the special attack. They just rip packs and collect the stuff, and then they trade it relentlessly with their friends. And that's it. That's we don't know the game. But the thing is that the joy of it, the joy of it is the ripping the packs. It's opening the packs. It's opening the cards, seeing what I got. Like, you get a foil, that's amazing. You always get the one shiny looking one, even if it's garbage, even if it's only 30 cents on TCG Trade or whatever. You still get it and you're happy about it, and they put it in their little binder or whatever. And then the one time you pull my son pulled this Charizard EX out of the pack, and it's the most rare one in that expansion, the literal #1 rarity. And we immediately drove to the store, and the guy gave him $100 worth of store credit, and he bought 20 more packs and ripped 20 more packs. That experience, we want to replicate that experience in RT Law. That has to be the experience. And so what that means is that the pack prices have to come down to I just froze. Did I freeze verbally?
No, you're back in.
Okay. We have to make sure the pack price is in line with something where, now again, this is not changing the rarity of things. There's only so many Charizard EXs in a Pokemon deck. Even though the pack price is $6, there's still you still can only, I don't know how many there are. What are they, 1,000 or something? There's only 1,000 Charizards in the whole collection. Millions and millions and millions sold. So there's still only 1,000. And you might have to rip 500 packs to get one, or 1,000 packs to get one, or you might never get one, even if you rip packs endlessly. That's okay. There's secondary markets for people that really want to go out and buy them, as evidenced by my son selling it at the local store. So that's how the dynamic should work, is that the rarity stays the same, the pack price comes down, and people have incentivization to rip continuously and in order to collect. And then for the people who don't want to do that, they're the consumer for the people who do. They go and they consume that on the secondary market. So I think from a pricing standpoint, you'll see Evolutions looks a lot different than previous expansions in that mindset or that thinking. We want people out buying 20 packs for what they bought 1 pack before, or 5 packs. I don't know the numbers. Don't quote me on anything, but you'll see a major reduction in an increase in rarity. So there'll be common and uncommon cards that you're pulling. You might get a lot of trash. There might be, it's going to be that way because in my opinion, that's the joy of a trading card game. The hunt for the cards is the joy of that side of things, of the collector side of things, and we have to bring that back.
Nice. When you speak about formations, at any time, you sort of said there's no time frame for that. That's a fairly major one. Normally the drop evolution. Sorry, yeah. Normally the drops are every 3 months. Evolutions wouldn't have been planned for the next one. It would be planned for the one after, would it? Maybe with a smaller one in between.
So we were looking at doing a smaller set probably in Q1. That's probably changed a little bit with some of the stuff we need to do now for the new tokenomics with the new set that's going to be built in there. And then, Evolutions will still be the next large set coming at some point after that. Obviously, with everything that's been happening over the last month or two, some of our time frames have been a little bit all over the place. But yeah, our plan is long term to get back to that regular release cadence that the team wants to be able to do, and have that tie in obviously with the same sort of cadence that we have for Battle Pass, play and earn reward seasons. Like a lot of the systems are built into that sort of for a year schedule.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. And obviously like things got disrupted with the acquisition, and then I came in and Bull in a China shop shook things up and said, team, I need you to fix this. I need you to fix that. An example is the Wallet Connect upgrade that's happening right now. A lot of the RT Law wallet connection issues related to, an outdated plugin basically from or integration from Wallet Connect. So I have the team, off of one thing onto another thing to fix like a core system that will make the user experience better, but 99% of the people won't even notice. So things like that we're doing on the back end, there's quite a few of them. And then there's all the work the team's doing around, automating the data set generation for the play and earn, collect and earn, particularly. Leaderboard's pretty easy, but the collect and earn especially is causing problems, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because there are mid cycle changes of hands. So like you're trying to calculate like Ray owned the Chad Rainey for like 4 days, and during those 4 days it got played and won like this many times, and then I had it for like 8 days, and then I sold it, and like all of that stuff is just complexity in data aggregation. And so the devs are like really like grinding out the systems around aggregating, calculating that data so that it's accurate. But the good news is once it's done, it's a system now, and then next month it's an automated system. Not to say that it automates it and then it immediately sends it out, but we also automated the sending of tokens so that once all the data is aggregated, we can run the script on the data set and everybody's distributed their tokens automatically. So so that they all go out regularly. As you know, last month it was literally me with a ledger clicking 4 times so that each of you got your, it's 120 texts and or it's about like 110 or so, because a bunch of you guys don't have your wallets attached to your accounts, which is going to cost you money this month. A lot of it, actually.
Probably there are a few people. There was a list of them put up in the Telegram, I think. So for anybody, you really need to check that you have a primary wallet connected to your Epic account, because if you don't, not only will they not be paid out, but you're saying there's a cutoff of some sort. Is there a cutoff?
Well, I mean, if we send out the rewards for the month and then your wallet's not there, here's what I'll tell you this, right? So if you don't get your rewards this month, open a support ticket. We will manually take care of you this month. If for some reason we're into the next month and you still haven't noticed, you didn't get paid out, and you still don't have a primary wallet, it's that like customer service grace period is going to end. So and this is the important bit there, right? People go, oh, I linked my wallets. So you've got like a BSC wallet, and you've got a ETH wallet, and a Beam wallet, and a JPEGs. All you linked your wallets so that it's seeing your cards in game, but you never assigned a primary wallet for your rewards. That's a step that several people miss. That probably still see their cards in game and think I'm all set. But you're not, because you don't have the primary wallet set. So what I'm saying is that when you think you should get rewards, open up a support ticket if you don't, and that's probably the reason.
Sure.
And we'll take care of you this month, but in the future, we're gonna say too fucking bad.
Just for a little bit of background with that as well. Why we've done it that way, we're not just going to put it into any wallet that you've connected. We know there are community members who have connected wallets that are compromised. That as soon as we put RST in it, will just get drained like the very next like block transaction. Those community members still have those wallets connected because they may still have old cards that are staked, or maybe whatever's draining their wallet isn't affecting like NFT. It's only affecting like fungible tokens. But yeah, that's why we need you to specify a primary wallet. And then obviously the onus is on you to make sure that that's a wallet you have control of. That's a wallet that you want us to put rewards into. It was really weird. Like I don't think George has a primary wallet set, so I guess we're just not going to pay out.
Oh no, I put mine. Don't worry, I just put mine in.
Oh, I put Alex.
AlexMoody.eth is George's wallet.
Okay, cool. Yeah, all right, we got that sorted then. And just Dingo Peters 1977. So to assign your primary wallet, you go to rtlol.com, click the player profile button up in the top right, and that will basically get you to connect MetaMask, and you can then link your wallets. When you've got a list of linked wallets, there's a button there. It's I think it says like set primary or something like that. It should be pretty obvious. If you have any issues doing it, as Alex mentioned, just open a support ticket on Discord, and yeah, we'll take care of that for you, or we can assist you with it over there. But it should be pretty straightforward. And Alex is just learning the fun game we play, which is basically called give
Tease
George,
George.
shit. Yeah, tease
that's
George.
right. That's right.
Yeah, like we've literally
Whereas
written
the,
custom code in the back end to give George
yeah,
bad
that's
luck
right.
every game he plays. Yeah, it's fine.
If George loop,
Yep.
if George is playing,
Yep.
make it harder for him to win. Just a general question, I suppose. Obviously, rainbows and unicorns are ending at the end of this month, again, to simplify the ecosystem. I was reading somewhere online that there's looking at a potential card drop, possibly for people to maybe use up the final, their unicorns and rainbows. Do you have any information on that?
Not specific information, but I can give you general information. So in the
Sure.
in the Medium article, we talked about like sunsetting legacy systems and particularly around like old or outdated reward systems or things that hadn't been fulfilled or what have you. A lot of that's around the chromatics and the goldens and the infused NFTs, all that stuff sort of like lingering out, and then they were going to be magnifier shards,
Yeah.
which in the context of the game, the magnifier shard has no role at all. So the final design, when we came in, magnifier shards specifically related to increasing a user, an LP provider's earnings within the context of an LP staking program. So if you weren't providing LP, those things gave you no benefit at all. And again, back to that principle of we don't want to encourage people to provide LP because there's two kinds of loss. We don't need to get into a whole DeFi thing, but a little bit of context doesn't hurt. There's two ways to lose in an LP. One is you could just lose. You can actually just lose money. And the other one is you make money, but you lose because of illiquid loss, which is the process of the values shifting, whether up or down. And now you have less of the token you were staking, and it's worth more, but you lost it because it got converted to the paired token, in this case, Beam or ETH or AVAX or whatever. And so you have the other token, but you lost your primary asset. So there's these like complex mechanisms at play when you're LP staking. And for people that are interested in, I like to do it. I do it for myself by choice. I make a decision, and half the time I lose. It's like it's a complex thing. I've been doing it for a long time. I like to do it, but I like to think about it. What I don't want to do is to create a program that basically the incentive or the reward for you guys is that you have to go take a risk. Like, I don't want the reward to be that you have to go take a risk. And that's what an LP staking program is, particularly a reward-based one. Okay. So instead, we take those away. And then you can compound that where unicorns and rainbows are the same thing, but they're an even more ephemeral reward, right? You're taking the risk of real loss or a liquid loss, and in return, you're being given a ticket to a raffle, which is not even a guaranteed reward. So we want to get rid of that. It's not something that meshes with the seed-in ideology or thought process, the way we want to like operate, the way we want to reward people. We want to reward gamers who are playing or collectors who are collecting, period. Full stop. So what we're doing is we're taking all of those legacy programs. You've earned them. You've earned the unicorns, the rainbows. We're not just going to take them away from you. Well, we are going to just take them away from you, but we're going to give you something in exchange. And so what we're doing is we're creating a special card drop that is all going to be rares, legendaries, mythics, and we're going to provide those to only the people who are entitled these rewards, people who hold infused NFTs, chromatics, goldens. Like we're looking at some other programs potentially that were out there that lingering that may not have been satisfied as well. And then unicorn percentage. I don't know who gets what, but there will be that way. Now you have a real valuable item, a digital collectible NFT that is unique to this drop, meaning it's something powerful that people don't have from other packs. They can't buy them. They can't get them. They're something you could trade or sell in the secondary market. So you have real value there. and you could hold on to it and be a high earning value in the C&E program, the collect and earn program. So it can either be like you can turn a real value within the context of our actual game ecosystem.
Sweet. I saw that Sphere, Marty, came online or is up and running now or something, because of a few of the questions JJ Jones is basically, and a bunch of other people ask about just getting all those collections together to make it easy for everybody to see them all in one place. That's still something we're aiming for. Obviously, priorities with everything else, but that is still an aim for all the collections to come together.
Yes, there's basically one of the good things with so if anyone isn't aware, Sphere is basically the marketplace being built by Merit Circle primarily to support their Beam subnet, but will also support collections on ETH and AVAX as well, which actually covers 3 out of 4 of the chains we currently support. We're working with the Merit Circle team to get basically all of our collections verified and listed on there correctly. Which, as I understand it, would mean 2 things. It means, one, that you've got a very convenient centralized place for any trading that you wanted to do across 3 of the 4 chains, and definitely 3 of the 4 most active chains for our collectors, I would say. But it also means that all the cards that you have on Beam itself, you don't have to go in and do manual trading via the contract. You have got like a nice UI and way to do that as well. So yeah, we're working with Merit Circle to get that all sorted. Obviously their team has got a lot on their plate at the moment as well. But yeah, as soon as we can get that up and running, that'll be good.
Okay.
And I'll add to that, Ray, on a much longer time frame. I don't want to give I'm not saying it's long like 2025 or anything, but I don't know when it is. It's our goal, or it's our vision or objective, to have every card all in one place on one contract, and so that each expansion would be a different trait on the same collection, so that there'd be one unified collection that defines all. So if you were a Genesis card, that Genesis would be a trait in a drop down box that you could, sort by Genesis, sort by evolution, sort by formations, what have you. And then as we grow the collection with more expansions and more whatever, that would just add new growth to the same collection, but it would all be in one place. And so that is a longer term process, because that involves a new contract. It involves either airdropping or claims or burning, or there's a whole bunch of stuff there. But there is a lot of stuff spread out on a lot of different chains, which creates complexity for collectors. It creates complexity for code. So when we want to write a code, a new program, or we want to do anything, we have to make sure that it reads all the different places we've ever done things in the past. And that's not efficient, and it's not easy for new users into our ecosystem. Even, I'm not saying like non-sophisticated users. I mean, just like me, I'm a sophisticated NFT collector. I have a large, very valuable NFT collection, and I love collecting. I don't even really know where to find the various Raini NFTs. It's like, it's not easy to get. I would want to I want to go to one place with one collection. I want to sort by the rarest, and I want to figure out like what good deals, and I think that our collectors would really appreciate that. And I think it would drive a lot of value to the collections when they're all there and they're all visible in one place. And I think that's the direction we want to head in. When we head there, I don't know, but that's where we're headed.
Yeah, sweet. Definitely, that'll be the go. Like, because if you just go to the collection, then like you said, you can see them all in one place, or you can filter on the trait like you can with the beavers, for example, and just look at the rarity of the body, or look at whatever you like from there, which is fantastic.
So you'd go, you could sort by mythic, and you'd get all the mythics from every collection from that ever existed on any chain. Or I could go Genesis and sort by mythic and only get the Genesis mythics. You give you the ability to sort the entire universe of Raini NFTs in one go. I don't have to maybe I need to go to look at BS. Do I have to look at BSC? and search on that one to find the one I want, or is it like, imagine if I can only imagine you're a collector and you have it on a chain that isn't as popular as another chain, and nobody even knows that your thing's for sale right now. But there's a buyer over on Joe Pegs who wants to buy it, but that's not where you are. It makes it much more complicated.
That had solved that problem well and truly. You sort of mentioned that you're going to give a detailed update on timelines. I suppose you've pretty well done that, I suppose, through what you've said already with regard to things. Is there any more to add on the timeline aspect of things? Not really.
I mean, Marty said end of the month we'd have we'd be like soft bringing people in. I'm saying February mobile. Localization is like literally like done nowish. I mean, they're building that. Marty's building that like now. So in the next few days to next week to like the week after, the localizations could be rolled out. And then we just have to like build the specifics, there might only be a few of the languages. We got to improve the languages, add more languages and so forth. So all this stuff is happening. It's imminent. Wallet Connect will be done next week. C&E stuff is like, it was supposed to be today, but we ran into some challenges on some of the subgraph stuff, and Alex is like grinding that out. The other Alex, or maybe I'm the other Alex. I think at this point. Anyway, whatever. But is like grinding that out so we can stay good on our commitment to get all the rewards out this week. It's just like all the timelines are like imminent.
Sweet, excellent. I was going to say the RST on the staking page for LP. I know LP rewards are only at the end of the month, but X-Photon rewards are continuing to go for the next almost 5 years. But they all seem to have stopped at the moment. Is that a known overall issue, or is that just me?
One of our senior Web3 guys is on that at the moment. Basically, there was an issue where some of the endpoints we use went down, and we've had to sort of replace them, and then it means the data is sort of catching back up. I think he was saying that it looks like he's investigating it as we speak, so we'll get that sorted ASAP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the theory, okay, I'm not saying this is 100% because we're still investigating, but the theory is that once we get every service restored to all the systems, then the smart contract still accurately categorizing what people should have, and then as soon as everything catches up, it would be paid. It would be available for claim. So then the UI would accurately show what was accurately due and so forth. So that's the theory, and if not, we'll continue to resolve it. But we are still running the LP program, even though it's not running right this minute.
Sure.
We are still running it until January 31st. We didn't secretly stop it. And there, we did check. There are rewards available in the contract, so that's not the issue.
Okay. No, that's fantastic. All right. There's a bunch of things here. Okay, sorry, I'm just going through the things here, guys. Are there any other game modes planned besides PvP for Rainy? For the game, Lords of Light? Not at the moment?
Not in the short term.
Okay, that's fine.
There's a lot of stuff we would love to do with it, but a lot of that stuff either requires more users or requires more users for us to justify the cost of development to implement them.
Sure.
So it's very easy for me to turn around to Alex and go, hey, I want to build out this incredible story-driven, branching RPG single player experience. We're going to charge $20 for it as like a premium DLC thing, and because we've got 1 million people playing the game, I expect this many percentage of people will come across and play this. Therefore, this would be the revenue we can generate. And the budget would be this for development. That's an easy sell, and simple mathematics. As long as the cost is less than what the revenue is going to be, hopefully I get the tick on that one. But at the moment, it's hard to say, hey, I want to invest X number of months of this many team members to build a new game mode when we can't show the revenue we would get for that. And
Sure.
where that potentially, like, let's say using that hypothetical, we build out a cool single player thing. Does that mean that we're going to remove half the players out of matchmaking because they're going to go play the single player and make the matchmaking experience even worse for the people who do still want to play PvP?
Sure, 100%.
So it's
Okay,
but no, there's plenty of things we would love to do within RTLOL, but there's steps to get there.
And priorities obviously is bigger things obviously on the boil at the moment. Game 2 being one of the biggest, I suppose. And even the seeding side of things, we're just about to get into just a few seeding questions, but we've got the node test coming for that. You've got Rocket Monsters beta coming. Just one more question on the Rainy. Just Crypto Cloaker asked, will there be another NFT auction for another custom card? He won the last one and he got a card created. There was an auction. He won it, got a card created with the devs, and his card of his image is in the game now. The Crypto Cloaker. It's a legendary. The latest. Yeah. So he's just asking. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, I like stuff like that. Generally speaking, I like stuff like that. I like community engagement, community involvement in game design and creation. Oh my god, I'm just like, but I mean,
yeah, that's right. Again,
there's
priorities.
no current plan. To my knowledge, there's no current active program to do that. But that doesn't mean we wouldn't do it. I think we probably would. It just kind of low priority right this moment.
Sure. Can we ask a couple of just seeding questions that popped up through the?
By all means, yeah.
Yep,
One quick question, Jum or Lum. More chains will be added. No, the opposite. Less chains will be added. Back to the simplicity concept, right? Our objective would be to build on layer 0, which is an ONFT contract, and that allows for seamless messaging across chain. So that if you could take an NFT from one place to another and back very easily, and it keeps the collections together. They don't break or get misaligned. But the objective would be that the belief that we have to be multi-chain. So the belief in building or design that you have to be multi-chain, it can be a fallacy. It can be a trap of design, in the sense that as long if the user experience is improved by it, then you should. And if the user experience is not improved by it, then it might not be the choice. So in this case, we want to create a unified contract or a unified NFT contract, and then allow users to move where they choose for whatever reason they choose. And that's usually based on liquidity. So for instance, if you create a single unified contract on Beam, but then you allow the users to move to AVAX so that they can trade on JPEGs, or ETH so that they can trade on OpenSea or Blur or whatever, then that's a logical choice because there's a user experience improvement involved there. But if you're just going onto multiple chains because you think that appeals to multiple communities, it's probably not the right strategy. So then that complexity is hindering the game because it's creating a lot of complexity of code. So that's kind of the thinking around it.
Sure. Actually, just go down through these comments here. I suppose there's one from Kieran, about 12:11 there, says, when the original Rainy token are all burnt, which I presume is in March or after March, the deadline, the cutoff there, how will that affect the RST price, and will that mean there is only RST listed on CoinGecko, etc.?
Well, I'm not going to comment on price. RST is a utility token within the Raini Studios ecosystem. And as such, it is only as valuable as its ability to exchange it for goods and services on the Raini Studios store. What you choose to trade it for on the secondary market is your own business. However, I will say, generally speaking, when there are currently 260 million of the 640 million approximate tokens in circulation are currently unaccounted for or at risk. So that is just under half, about 40% or a little bit over 40% of the circulating supply is potentially at risk of being burned. Simple economics. If there's less of something and the same number of people want it for whatever reason, I mean, you do the math.
Yeah, that's right. Always the case, I suppose. Less in circulation.
The likelihood that the downside of public blockchains is we can never make Raini go away. $RAINI will exist in perpetuity forever, and it will exist on CoinGecko and other places, and it will exist on Uniswap, and it will exist on probably BSC and 100 million other places it's ever been. Yeah. The only difference is if you currently have it, you can no longer get RST for it. And we as a company no longer support it. So therefore, in fact, it might still have value. There might be it might become a meme coin again, for all we know, but it won't be our meme coin. So like that, it's still going to be a coin. It's still going to exist. It's still going to be a token on a blockchain that continues to be fungible. It just won't have any fungibility within the Raini ecosystem or the RST store ecosystem.
Okay. And just below that one, Marty, it's some good news for Lito. Is the tokenomics, his wife loves him again. See that? Just above that, I think, or just below that, maybe.
Because we're now on YouTube, Twitch, and
it's come from there.
Twitter.
Maybe.
There's a lot of comments. Yeah.
Ashley's come from Twitch. He's just said, just show the tokenomics to my wife, and she told me that she loves me again. So that's Lito's a big character in the Seed and Discord and in Panda, I think, isn't he? He's one of the Panda and Friends hosts.
He is one of the new Panda and Friends hosts. Yeah, I met Lito in Vegas as well, and he's a good guy. He's really fun. Yeah,
funny. Yeah, definitely. Okay, just going down through those. Bash Luke, just 12. Yep. Will you introduce other tokens in future games or as an in-game utility token, like Axis and SLP, which is how I suppose Raini was going to be with Photon, or will you be sticking to RST for all the rewards in games?
Raini Studios will not release another token. There's no circumstance I can anticipate where Raini Studios will release another token. The reason why we made changes to the RST tokenomics, or one of the reasons, was so that it could support other games. Part of the longevity bullet point, when we were thinking of our high level objectives or high level like value set, if you will, like what are our objectives and values around this tokenomics proposal? Longevity was one of them, and part of that longevity conversation is the longevity to support other games, right? So if you have a 5-year, if you have a token that expires in 5 years, which means it has no mechanism for replenish, and it completely pays out over 5 years. I was having this conversation in the Telegram. If that token doesn't last 5 years, it lasts more like 3 years. And here's the reason why. Because when you design a system, users have a mindset of sunk cost and time of value, right? If you know that right now, if you buy a card deck of for collect and earn, and you buy and to play the game, and so you spend X number of dollars on OpenSea or wherever to get like your deck, and you collect and you're ripping packs, you're doing all this, right? You've spent X number of dollars. Doesn't matter what that number is for you. That's a significant amount of money that you've set aside, and you know that that's going to earn for you for 5 years. Or let's just say if we're using the old system, 5 years, you're going to earn for 5 years. Now you get 3 years in. So you've been playing for 3 years. It's worth it for you because you've had all that time to earn you've got time to recapture. It's like a recapture on investment, right? You know the system will support you for that period of time. And then on the other side, the new player comes in and starts doing the same calculation. They're already behind the 8 ball because they're not as good as you. They haven't been collecting as long as you. They haven't been earning rewards as long as you. But now they go, okay, well, so I have to spend X number of dollars, but there's only 2 years left of value. They're not going to make the decision that you made to do it. The same risk reward doesn't exist for a player 3 years in that existed for the player at the beginning. So it's not a good design. So when we said, okay, what do we want to do? We want to extend the time horizon. So we made it 10 years. This is an arbitrary number. It's just it's a reasonable number. But then we built the RST store mechanism to replenish that so that it pushes it out. So if you think about that, from the standpoint of that, the 30% comes out of circulation at least 11 years. It goes into the 11th year. Mm-hmm. So right away, already today, people are buying RST store. That boom, that 30% is going to start being allocated to 11 years from now. And the 12th year will happen, and the 13th year. As soon as we get 2 million or whatever, then it's into the 12th year, and then the 13th year, and 14th year, and so forth. So now the player 3 years in is going, how long is this? Oh, 10 years. Okay, great. But also that allows us to then say, okay, well, what if we shift a percentage of the rewards away from Rainy and we put it over into game number 2, and we make a leaderboard for game number 2? Well, now the Rainy people are going, well, my 5 years just became 2.5 years, or it became 3 years. That's not fair to me. But if we don't release a second game, so that's kind of it. We had to create that longevity, but we also had to create mechanisms by which to funnel rewards back into the pool so that pool could support more than one game.
Excellent. Yeah, so I think it's obviously you came at a very good time, Alex, you and the Seedon team. I personally appreciate the fact that you guys you got a lot of experience and things, and the direction you're taking us is really exciting from my perspective, and obviously from the entire community. They're all really happy, I suppose, with the way things are going, and that tokenomics medium certainly reflects that.
Thank you. Just
below, Myzen said, any plans to encourage players to use different decks in P2E? I think we already do that, don't we, with the theme decks and NFT only open?
I mean, we're talking about if he's referring there to the play and earn system specifically,
okay.
That would probably never. If that's referring to the play and earn system, no. Like theme decks are soulbound; they're not really part of the player reward system for collectibles. Having said that, we do support players who enjoy playing with theme decks in other ways, such as theme deck tournaments, events in the World Championship, stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, no, like I would be very surprised if we were to change the play and earn system to be anything but a reward for people who own collectible cards. Keeping in mind the leaderboard-based rewards, there's three pillars of player rewards, being play and earn, collect and earn, and then leaderboard rewards. Leaderboards are open to everyone. They're not restricted in any way based on the decks that you choose to use. They are literally just who are the top players at this point in time. And we've seen the semi-finals at the World Championships. There was a player using the pink theme deck. We've seen theme decks be used at the top levels of competition. So if you are a theme deck grinder, if you prefer more just to have preset decks that you just go in and your skill is in piloting those decks, then yeah, leaderboard rewards and our tournament series are probably more what you're looking for.
Okay, sweet. Just a couple of things on the Seedon nodes and things like that, or Seedon in general.
Sure.
Crypto Clyker was just asking, what price per CDN in US dollars will the initial CDN LP be launched at, and how will it stay there or be supported in the future?
$1 is the initial price, because we set an MSRP of $500 per node. How will it stay there? It won't. As the second we press the button, secondary market mechanics will take over, and then it's anybody's guess.
Okay.
And then it will be free market economics will guide the price. However, as a company, we will continue to suggest that the MSRP be 500. But what people will sell them for after that is to the market.
Sure. But CDN itself in the Seedon ecosystem is supported by customers and clients that come online and use the network. They have to either buy CDN or
Well,
they
no, actually they
pay
don't.
with
So,
fiat.
so
And you,
CDN's primary utility, CDN's primary utility is as a reward mechanism and unit of account in the expansion of the network. So CDN, the purpose of CDN, I'll just give like a quick background of how
Sure.
CDN functions. CDN is created in only one way, and it is through, well, two ways, I guess: airdrop and mint. So like you mine reward and then the airdrop reward. They're both the same. It's a block reward that happens on a static basis. It's just who gets it is the differentiator. So 10% of the supply over 4 years is granted to the Keystone NFT nodes. And that is a passive airdrop. So they have to go claim it from the node portal, but they do not need to do anything with it. You don't need to run your node. You get it whether you run your node or not. Now, if you turn your node into an active state, which in this case is licensing, is a press of a button and paying a fee through us, and we set the licensing of nodes externally through the first two phases of the node project, that generates your participation in the block rewards, which is the other 90%. Of that. Now, the only way to grow the node network beyond the 10,000 Keystone NFT nodes is by minting production nodes. You need 500 CDN to mint a production node, and production nodes gain 90% of the value of the network. So while Keystone nodes are the foundation, they only get 10% of the active value. So 90% for production, 10% for Keystone. So the value of CDN's purpose is basically to grow the network via escrowing and minting additional nodes. And then it's a unit of account. So when we're paid for content delivery services, 90% of that payment is to purchase CDN and distribute it over the active node network, pro rata. So that's like, it's just a unit of account within the ecosystem, but its primary purpose is that unit of account mechanism and growth of the network, targeted growth of the network.
Okay. I'm not sure you would potentially know this, but this is a very technical question from Crypto Cloaker about the nodes. Will full node be open source or precompiled binaries? Will they be Debian targeted builds? Any idea on down and upstream requirements yet?
Don't have the answer for them. So
okay,
it's a pretty specific question for developers, technical.
Yeah.
And at this stage of the game, the node network is evolving constantly in terms of its like technological needs and functions. So can't really give like user-based
sure,
like technical needs yet, particularly like hard metal or like VPN type like setup needs. We just don't have the data to provide you right now.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be able to answer a question that technical anyway, even if I knew. Not a developer.
And Shrek just asked for Keystones, how often is the CDN airdropped, and is it once a day or is it a trickle?
It's a trickle. I think we're at hourly right now. That's a good question for Julian. Honestly, they were talking about it in the meeting this week, and I was like on my phone doing something else. So it's either every 10 minutes. It's either every 10 minutes or hourly right now.
Okay, but and all that appears in some sort of a dashboard.
It aggregates. So it aggregates on a back end. It's all database aggregated, and then you claim it. So it's essentially like the smart contract is. So the node portal, you can actually see the node portal right here.
Yep.
Right here,
on the
right here.
Second one from your.
It all aggregates on your node portal, and then there's a claim button, and you can claim all. You can like all the functionalities right there with the click of a button. And so what happens is on the back end is you're accumulating the value within the smart contract, and when you claim it, it grants it to you.
Sure.
But it's all available right there. In fact, you can actually, without claiming it, there's features called auto mint and auto pay. So you can actually, without doing a claim function, you can set your parameters within the node portal for the node portal on your behalf to continually mint production nodes without even doing a claim as soon as you reach the thresholds. So it will handle everything for you if you want to just do it. If you just want to like set it and forget it, you can. You don't need to like click a bunch of buttons all the time.
That's pretty cool. And obviously create them and run them as well, I suppose, and get them into
Exactly.
operation.
So yeah, if you have, so like if you can like there's a prepay wallet or an auto pay wallet functionality, which is essentially like a staking mechanism where you can stake USDC into a smart contract, and then once that happens, you can automate auto pay, and so every time a node is due for a lease payment, it will automatically pay it for you, and then in the same token, every time you auto mint, like you say you have like 480 CDN in your wallet, and then it like, or on the like portal, and then you like get another payout and it hits you at 501, it will automatically mint another production node and then activate it. So literally you could like go away for a month or a year and it would take care of 100% of it as long as you never ran out of the USDC.
Nice. Would that sort of dashboard sort of system be something that's coming for the play to earn, collect to earn style of things on the Raini Studios Lords of Light?
Well, that'd be a good idea. It's a lot of work to develop.
Yeah,
We've been working on the node
over
portal.
time.
Yeah, I mean, yes, there should. I think that the future right now it's a distribution model that we're looking to move towards. But I think that a claim, like a rewards claim portal, would make a lot of sense, especially as we get to a larger player base and there's potentially tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of transactions that would have to go out monthly. Just for the simple like gas, The other issue on the flip side of that though is the flip side of that would be like, what is the better experience for the user? If somebody's like running nodes, they're expecting to have to like do shit. If you're playing a game, like do we want to send you to go click the button to claim your like whatever? I don't know. I think we could probably get everything in game. Like at some point, like literally in the game, as opposed to on rtlol.com. That would be like the holy grail, but there's no current plans to do that. So don't think that's like on the roadmap.
Sure. No, that's fine.
But I will say that on the roadmap is during the RST new user quest system, it will be in-game collection and you will receive the rewards immediately. That's the design. So when you click the button, say like claim my reward, the database communicates with the smart contract, which sends the reward out that you've earned. And that is part of that thinking of you have to provide the benefits to people right away in the beginning before you build the trust with them that they're willing to grind for a month to get a reward that they can't like conceptualize yet.
Okay. Ben Bastic asked, how does the CDM ecosystem benefit from the 7 games that are estimated to be under its umbrella by the end of the year? How does CDM directly benefit from that?
Lots of ways. So CDM. So there's two kind of there's the CDM company, and then there's the CDM ecosystem, which is the people that hold mint passes and the people that hold or run Keystone or hold Keystone NFT nodes or run active nodes. So there's two thought process. I'll give you a little alpha on this one, right? So in Rocket Monsters, we're about to release the tokenomics for Rocket Monsters, but I've leaked this. I don't know where I've leaked this actually. I think I leaked it in the Telegram maybe when I was explaining something, but Discord for Rocket Monsters. Rocket Monsters, the token will have a 2% sales tax. That 2% sales tax will be mined by the nodes, by the active nodes at CDM. So that's just one way that the CDM ecosystem can benefit from one of our games. On the other side of things, we have said in the latest tokenomics that we took the team pool, which is 50 million RST tokens that were allocated, which basically belong to CDM and Campi Studios. So instead of me taking 25 million tokens, buying myself a Lamborghini and a new boat and a whatever, and dumping on you guys. So that's if we're being realistic. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but if we're being realistic, those 50 million tokens were designed so that I could give them to myself and other people on our team, and we would sell them. and we would keep the money ourselves. That's what they're for. That's the purpose of them. It's a reward structure for yourself and your team, your executive, your leadership. I don't like that. I think that puts, I want to make money that I pay myself that money rather than dump on the community to get paid, right? It just creates an alignment of values, right? If I can't create a good game and it makes money, I make money and you guys all win too because it's a good game. If I just get a token, pump a token, dump the token on you guys, and I get the money, it doesn't matter if the game's good or not. It doesn't even matter if the game's out. I got my money and to hell with it. So I don't really like that structure of token design. So we did away with the team tokens. We took that pool instead and we created what we call the communities pool, which is a split pool of value that we're going to give to our communities. Josh at Camp High is going to give his 25 million tokens or whatever it is to his community, and I'm going to give my 25 million tokens to my community, the seeding community. We're going to do that in a creative airdrop. Now, keep in mind, these tokens are still vested for 3 years, just like they were in the original tokenomics. So you can only imagine, we haven't said how these tokens would benefit, but a portion of them, if you're a seed and ecosystem participant, you could imagine a portion of them might come up in an airdrop to a mint pass, because that's how mint passes work. And then another portion, who knows, might be mined by active nodes. You can imagine, right? So every time we onboard a new game into our ecosystem, it grows our ecosystem. These games have content delivery needs. They have content needs. Eventually, they have engine needs and infrastructure tooling needs that we are working on. So they provide that type of resources, but also they provide those resources in the sense of the value that we can drive through our ecosystem. Like example, Rocket Monsters. When you own a seed and mint pass, you get a free NFT mint in the new Rocket Monsters NFT mint that's coming up in February. And then when that Rocket Monsters token airdrop happens, Rocket Monsters NFTs get a share of the airdrop and seed and mint passes get a share. So seed and mint pass holders get 2 shares of that NFT. So all parts of our ecosystem benefit from all the games within our ecosystem. And then the last piece, and I think this is the most important piece, a company that relies on diluting its community or dumping on its community in order to sustain itself is not a good, healthy, company design for you, the people who want to participate in that community. So if our only avenue to revenue is either issuing new NFTs, selling you more shit, or dumping the token on you as our only source of revenue, then that's a difficult scenario, right? So the more games we put out on the market, particularly some of these games that we putting out through traditional channels, like the second game in Raini, or the game that we're putting out through Game Maker, that'll be published through traditional channels, those types of games are going to generate a significant amount of revenue for Seedin and for Raini Studios that doesn't rely on us dumping the token on you or selling you another NFT. So creating those revenue streams is beneficial because it creates sustainable, healthy companies that don't rely on the age-old Web3. That's what gave Web3 gaming a bad name. Gamers don't like it because it stopped being about fun and about gameplay, and it started being this like funding mechanism. All the Web3 stuff was just like an illusion or an abstraction for a way to get money before you made a game. And that's really not the way it should be. Businesses should be created, and then you sell a product to a customer that they want to buy.
Yeah, that's excellent, mate. The revenue stream you're talking about for those other games that are more traditionally published, is that just from the sale of the game, like a certain dollar figure? Would there,
yeah,
money,
or I mean,
can you
like,
generate money inside those games as well?
Sure. Yeah, like there's just like you sell Lux through Epic, you sell like other stuff and power ups and whatever. It depends on the game and the model. We have several different games that'll have several different monetization channels. But if you look at like the second game at Rainy, it'll be like really obvious to people how we make money. But yeah, there's an initial cost to buy download the game, might be low, and then you're gonna like buy the power ups and buy incentives and buy whatever and to play the game, and you want You want the custom skins and you want the whatever, and you buy all those things. So
Okay,
there's
sweet.
revenue there. And I will say, and I've said this before, it's not initially designed with the RST token integrated, but that's a direction we'd like to take it if we can get the publishers on board. And what that requires is a kind of a change of attitude from the Web2 gaming community. The more we can kind of create healthy token ecosystems, the more we can convince gamers that this stuff is good for them. Like they buy $400 skins for Counter-Strike, but they don't want they think NFTs are a scam. That's not real. That's a mess up in their brain. That's like they flip the script. They think it's legitimate that they buy gold and then pay the gold to get an in-game mount in World of Warcraft, but they think that the token if you put $ gold, that's somehow bad. But the reality is gamers have been using digital collectibles and tokens in their games for time immemorial. And what we've done is we've created this like fucked up like incentive system where that we then like there was a lot of scammy shit that happened in 2020 and 2021, and then a lot of it fell apart in 2022. People lost money and like there's like things fell apart, and now there's like this cloud that hangs over it saying tokenization in gaming is bad, when the reality is literally the same. I had this really great conversation with somebody, and it was like they had this great perspective where they were like, if Marty said we use Azure for our backend, right? Has anyone in the community ever been like, well, which backend do you guys use? Because if you use Azure, I'm like not interested. I don't even want to.
I asked that question, but that's just me.
Right.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
So like then you play that tape forward, and it's like, well, do you guys use blockchain in your backend? Because if you do, I'm not going to play that. It's the exact same thing. It's just a technology layer. So like, what difference does it matter if gold, $gold, is supported by Azure, is cataloged by Azure, or by the Beam subnet of Avalanche? What's the difference? To the gamer, there should be no difference. And if there is, then we haven't abstracted it enough.
Sure. I suppose with the blockchain side of things for gamers, it's better because they've got greater control over their assets. They can transfer and move them wherever they like. Whereas some of these other systems that are built in game, I imagine that would require a third party or the permission of that game to do that. So,
well, it's not even that you need a third party. A lot of them you wouldn't be able to access them in the first place.
Yeah.
Or
that's right.
we saw the same thing with the Diablo 3 auction house. Like, yeah, sure, maybe some developers would make it open and accessible, but they can also turn that off at any point in time.
Yeah.
There is no world where we can turn around and say, well, you can't trade cards anymore. We literally do not have the ability to do that. We don't have the control over it. That's up for the community to decide what they want to do. In the same way, if the community wanted to turn around and go, hey, we love our NFT cards, we're going to go make our own game. Maybe we're going to make a racing game where Chad Rainey and Stacey Rainey race against each other. Cool, go for it. Again, we can't stop you, and we would support you in that. It's just I've said this, many times, like last year when we were talking about like the whole Web 5 design philosophy. It's, as a game developer, it's refreshing to have this very different mindset where it's a much more open ecosystem than the sort of closed walled garden that has been very much a traditional Web 2 thing for many years.
No, definitely.
Yeah, and that's a fundamental principle, like a core principle at Seedon, right? It's the democratization of content creation, and then the decentralization of how it's delivered. We're in the process of like creating a new website right now, and like branding, like really unifying the branding, because our website's super outdated and just like total trash. But we've been focused on like real shit and not worried about that crap. But it's like we're looking at it and we're going, okay, what's the message? But like that's really it. What Marty just said, it's that like removing the walls around the gardens, and that's what it's about. It's not about blockchain itself. It doesn't actually matter. People get so hung up on the tech stack, and the tech stack itself doesn't really matter. It's the fact that you remove the trust of centralization. That's it. That's the whole point. The actual like path to that doesn't matter. It's the user experience It's the fundamental user experience rather than the like religion of the technology. It's like people arguing over. This actually happens every day, but people arguing over Google Meet versus Zoom. But like at the end of the day, it's like it doesn't really matter which one your team uses. It doesn't matter which one you use on the back end, as long as the game's fun, the game's good, and you get the rewards and you get rewarded for the gameplay. That's the point.
Yeah, and I suppose with blockchain as well, it's just getting better. The user experience with the seamless wallets and the layer zeros and things like that. That's just making it a lot easier for people, isn't it? As well.
It is. Layer zeros technology in regard to that interoperability, and then beams like account abstraction and things like that. They're definitely game changing.
Yeah. There's no more questions there, except for just maybe a couple in the chat here. Just very simple ones, I suppose. Ever Leverage 69. Any more games going to be listed on the Epic Games in the future? Are the new games going to be on Epic Games, or they're just obviously the published ones won't be?
They could be.
They could be.
It depends. Depends on the game and the channel. So,
okay.
Like I think I've talked about this maybe in a previous AMA, or it might have been here, or Marty somewhere else. We did a AMA or something. But when you publish through traditional channels, you're at the mercy of the publisher. So it like take this. This is the example, and I'm not saying this is what's happening. I'm saying this is the example, and I will say we are pursuing it as an option. But it's not, there's no deal or anything. Like, don't misconstrue what I'm saying. If we take game number 2 and say we want it to go Nintendo Switch. Now, if you take a game Nintendo Switch, there's a couple of different publishing channels. There's third party, where you're self-publishing it on the Switch. And then there's Nintendo second party, where Nintendo is publishing it on the Switch with you, right? It's the same difference when you go Epic. There's third party publishing on Epic. You just go self-publish. You just put it up there and it's there. And then there's like facilitated or handheld publishing, where you communicate with Epic, you get an account rep, they get the game on there. Like that, those differences exist. But if you go Nintendo second party, typically Nintendo says, okay, we're going to second party publish you. You're going to get like millions of downloads, millions of sales, like right away, because they're going to put you at the top of their store. But they're probably going to say you have to stay exclusive on Switch for 6 months, or whatever the contract says. That's how it works.
Yeah. Now,
if you go like just a traditional general publisher, like whoever, like a D3 or whatever, they're going to go, okay, we want to get the most value and the most traction we can, so we're going to put it on PlayStation, Xbox. We're gonna put it on Steam. We're gonna put it on Epic. We're gonna have they're gonna put it on every channel they can possibly put it on. And they're just going to aggregate all that business for them. Like that's what they want. And then you could go like a self-publishing route, where you basically only put it on a Steam or an Epic, and then you grow it from there, right? Or a mobile. There could also be like a mobile only publishing, where you go and you partner with like a Samsung. Like Flappy Birds did something like that, where they got embedded. They made a deal with Samsung, where as long as they stayed on only Samsung for a period of time, they embedded the game on every single Samsung desktop that was ever sold. And then you have like how many, like 8 million instant like audience, because everybody has it on their desktop. So there's like all sorts of different publishing deals that you can do. And what we're going to do, we don't know. So it would just depend on all that. But very likely any game would end up on Epic. It's highly likely. It's a great avenue, great storefront, and pretty accessible. And we have a relationship there.
Sure. Okay, sweet. I suppose pretty well last question. Is there an update on the ETA of the Rainiverse Pass from Super Oli? Is that still a thing, or is we moving away from that? Or
the Rainiverse Pass obviously has dropped in priority recently with all the other changes we're doing with tokenomics and the stuff that's happening with the new like mini set and stuff like that. Once everything settles down from that, we'll be in a much better position to actually take a look and work out how the Rainiverse Pass fits in to the wider ecosystem, what rewards we can do, if there's opportunities to tie that in with other things within the Seed ecosystem, stuff like that. So yeah, it's still a thing. It will still happen at some point. It's just basically making sure that we do it in the right way. And again, doing it in a way which is sustainable for the long term.
And there's one more thing to that. Like I haven't looked at the specifics of this one that closely, but I do know that it's very, very like limited in terms of numbers of available, right? And I have a thought process around like right now that makes sense because there's like, I think there's like 60 people on the leaderboard, and and there's not that many people that like miss the leaderboard. There's a couple, maybe like 50 or a couple hundred or whatever a month that don't get on it. We're talking about like a few hundred people, so 20 passes or whatever makes sense. When you start to get like tens of thousands of users, you have to really look at like, should there be a benefit that only like this many people can experience, or should it be available to a wider audience? And if so, then you say, so if I told Marty, I want the Rainiverse pass has to be available to like 1,000 people, then he has to rethink the whole thing because it would break the game or break the economics with 1,000 distributed because of what's involved in it. So we just have to look at like the entire ecosystem and the direction of the ecosystem, as Marty said, and then plan it around the logical changes.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Well, that's pretty well it from the questions. Are you just able just to say one more time with the game 2? What was the potential, first notification of that coming out? Was at the end of Feb or March or something? When were you looking at sort of starting to release that?
I'm asking my team to give me something that I can market the beginning of February. So whether or not they do,
yeah, sure.
I'd say like I feel confident by mid-February we'll be announcing that IP.
Okay, sweet. Okay, that's going to be very exciting, I think, for a lot of for everyone, really.
Now, don't expect it to be like we'll want to milk that a little bit. So don't expect it to be like a game reveal, but we'll probably like let you know where we're building, what it is, like the kind of like theme, the IP. Maybe we'll show you who we have and stuff like that. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. That's it, guys. Question wise, if there's anything else, otherwise we're sweet.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's always a pleasure. It's almost 11. It's like
one of our bigger AMAs, but yeah, obviously a lot of questions, a lot of stuff we wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be back and do this again fairly soon, I would say.
Marty and I are going on. We're just about to wrap up hour 5 of perfectly consecutive meetings on calls together.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty keen to go grab some breakfast actually. So
literally 5 straight hours.
Oh, yeah. Man. Well done.
But as always, thanks everyone for tuning in. If you have any more questions, obviously we're always on Telegram, we're always on Discord. You can DM us on Twitter. I'll try to give non-sarcastic answers unless you ask something really stupid. And
or George.
Or George, obviously. Yeah, that goes with that. Or something stupid, I said that. But yeah, have a great day, everyone, and we'll catch you around the Rainiverse.
Excellent. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Thanks a lot, guys. See you around.